Let us not get a copyright strike. I don't know why this thing is still playing. Holy crap. Okay, I don't know what that's all about. Hopefully, it doesn't get us a copyright strike. Anyway, in this episode, we want to talk about left versus right. And when I say left versus right, I'm talking about left wing media versus right wing media. War versus collective. Um, Yet again, we see left wing media at war. Basically, you have one part of left wing media that's beefing with another part of it, and that part is beefing with another part. So you have these many divisions. This is how it's been for some time now, where you have like the blue MAGA squad, you have the fake progressives, as I like to call them, and then you have the sort of I think we really don't use this word appropriately, but the liberals. Let's just say the MSNBC crowd, right? So they're either watching MSNBC and or watching people like Brian Tyler Cohen. So these folks have been beefing for quite some time. And you're talking about not just, I mean, because I know someone on the right will say, well, they don't always agree, and they'll point out some exception, but it's not an exception. This is always, not always, but this has been for quite some time now, where there is, this ongoing sort of disagreement, right? The blue MAGA folks, I mean, the MSNBC audience have no respect for them. Um, they look at them as just they're nuts. They're basically left wing MAGA. The blue MAGA folks don't like the fake progressive. They're fake and they're not really doing anything, so they're always going at each other's throats. Something happens, and then, one faction has one take and another faction goes after them because they had the wrong take. They're talking, they're the wrong, this is not progressive, or this is not left enough, or whatever it is, right? Um, but on the right, in terms of media, you have a collective. You have pretty much all these folks. They pretty much circle the wagons around Fox News. I mean, at any given moment, if you want to know what the right wing media position is, just turn on Fox News, and more often than not, the general message, not saying that they're saying the exact same thing, they're not literally the Borg, but generally speaking, the position that you see Fox taking on each issue, that's what right wing media is doing. They all sort of circle the wagon. Good to see you, Lisa. Um, so, what did you say? Trying to watch. I didn't get the. Trying to watch Fox News. Yeah, Fox News is like the center of the right wing ecosystem, and pretty much whatever they say. So for example, um, you look at the the document situation with Trump, right? So Fox News goes and tries to downplay it and say, "Oh, Biden did it too," or "Oh, it's just some documents and they're trying to rig the election," or whatever it is. And then you go to independent right-wing media, and they're all basically saying the same thing, right? Now, in contrast, look at what's happening right now with Matt Taibbi, right? You have, I would say, Blue MAGA, because he's sort of affiliated with those folks. So Blue MAGA is, trying to back him up and say he's the right one, and trying to go after the MSNBC guy Hassan. Talking about, oh, he had the wrong position about this thing, and he worked for corporate media, right? So there's these factions. Some are with Matt Taibbi, some are against Matt Taibbi, and then you have the progressive media who have a certain take close to what you see from the MSNBC crowd, but they're a little bit different. MSNBC crowd is a little bit more sanitized, shall we say. So anyway, but again, the for some reason, right-wing media just seems to operate just as one voice. So I don't know what that's about. I mean, part of it is probably, and it's so bizarre. A lot of the accusations that are made of the left and what's happening on the left is actually what's really happening on the right, and it's really weird because you have people like Project Veritas like to talk about 1984 all the time. What is this pornography happening in the background? But anyway, right. But it's a lot of the stuff that the accusations they're making, it's actually themselves that are doing it, right? So there's a lot of talk about George Soros, this and whatever, and but you really have a lot of billionaire money in the right wing media. I mean, we suspected a lot of this. We had evidence of it here and there, and then we had the Steven Crowder situation where a lot more of that got exposed. What was it? Daily Wire exposed how Steven Crowder has just been billionaire funded for so long. And you look at a situation where you're looking at it and you're saying, look at how Project Veritas is getting Coke money. Like, what's up with that? And you look at what he's doing, and the positions that he takes, and it just so much seems that he's operating in service of the 1%, right? You say, listen, the stuff he's doing basically benefits the billionaire class. So could it be that he's basically working for them? And then you see the money donations coming in, and you're like, okay. Then you look at Steven Crowder, same thing. And then Daily Wire exposes him, yeah, billionaire funded. He's out there with this, sort of facade of like, hey, I'm independent media, I'm just a comedian, I'm just here making jokes. And then you come to find out billionaires are funding him, right? But not saying that doesn't exist at all on the left, but it seems like most of the time we see this stuff, it's coming from right-wing media. And it would make sense, because think about it logically. Why would a billionaire want to support people who are talking about tax the rich, and never mind, I make fun of them all the time in terms of not being serious. Serious, not serious. Listen, I'm a billionaire. I'm not trying to fund you talking about no tax the rich, right? You might be not serious about it, but then maybe the politicians take you seriously and then they go tax me. I'm not trying to get taxed. I would rather spend my money on somebody like Steven Crowder to sit there and any rhetoric that's threatening me to go and protect me, right? They're talking about increasing minimum wage. That's cutting into my profits, right? But I can count on somebody like Steven Crowder to say, "Oh, that's nonsense," and $7 an hour is a lot of money in Kentucky, and you gotta this and that, and they're just trying to buy votes or what, right? Like that's great for my money. Keep people distracted. Tell everything every time that there's any talk about anything that it's like for the people and against me as a billionaire. Right, I can count on Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, Newsmax to put out something that's going to be favorable to me, right? Left-wing media, I don't know. All this talk about taxing the rich, it makes me uncomfortable as a billionaire. You know what I mean? Like, so logically, of course, billionaires would be more funding the right-wing media, and look at how the right-wing media is so organized. Like you have Turning Point USA. I mean, guy is literally, by Ben Shapiro's definition, grooming kids. He's out there, targeting children, trying to influence children with his ideology. Like this is not me, sort of, reading into things. I mean, he's very overtly doing this. Like that is the mission of Turning Point USA, to groom kids towards a conservative ideology, right? There is no Turning Point USA on the left, right? There is no movement of like, imagine the Young Turks are going around the country and trying to speak at like high schools or whatever and trying to get kids into, like that's just this, you just don't really see that level of organization coming from the left. So it kind of makes sense that that's what's happening. So when I look at right-wing media, why is it a collective versus the left is all over the place, eating each other and fighting back and forth? To me, it looks like it's like a lot of this stuff follow the money. Follow the money, right? Who is paying right-wing media, right? Who is paying Project Veritas, right? Project Veritas doesn't want to tell us who some of their biggest donors are, right? The story is always going to be, oh, we got to protect them from harassment, right? Whatever, right? So, um, I think that everyone in right wing media, for the most part, is just following the money, going along with what pays the bills, and that's why you have this sort of collective thing. But in left wing media, you actually have, and I've definitely been very critical of left wing media, but to their credit, in comparison, you definitely have more independent voices in left-wing media. Certainly, there's influence going on. I know the Young Turks, I think, had gotten some major donation from some, I don't know, it was like millions of dollars or something like that, if I remember correctly. So, and then I look at somebody like Brian Tyler Cohen. He's definitely a what do you call it? He's a I can't believe I forgot what he is. He's the top guy for this. He's an access journalist, right? So guy that's getting access to the president. He's getting access to all the top Democrats. Um, so I wouldn't be surprised if there might be some money changing hands behind the scenes. But you look at Biden trying to be like the right-wing media folks now. Now he wants to go and try to get influencers. See, like the right-wing media, like they've been on this official, right? Official, just pushing out the Republican Party message, like hardcore. Everywhere you turn, it's GOP rhetoric, right? Oh, I don't want to watch corporate media. I watch independent media. What are they saying? The same stuff that you're getting from corporate media on the right in the right-wing media. Anyway, on that note, let me just read through the chat real quick, and I'm going to wrap it up. I have an early day tomorrow. Just playing, I mean, oh man, epoch times. A Fed minimum wage would be BS because different states have different economies, but minimum wage. See, you got to be careful of that. Like, what? This is what I talk about. I've talked about many times, which is lying with the truth, right? And this is what the Republican Party is really good with. So, if I, as a Democrat, come up with some idea that is basically pandering to my base, so it's something that's designed in theory to help the poor or something like that. But I'm not really serious about it, so there might be some potential issues with the plan that I'm advocating for. But the Republican Party, their mission is not to help the people, right? Their mission is to just go against whatever the Democrats are doing. So they will jump and seize on the opportunity to not say, hey, I see what you're trying to do, but there's a problem in how you're doing it. Here's the better way to do it. No, rather than do that, they will just jump on the one flaw. That's the thing. Find any flaw with it and say, well, you can't do this because what about the people who such and such? And then you just keep talking about that. Yeah, but what about the people such and such? Oh, but we should help the poor with this such and such program. But if you do that, what about the such and such? What about the such and such? What about the such and such? Right, and you keep saying that over and over again, and you get your base distracted. So here's a potential idea that could help the people, but you don't want to help the people. So you jump in with the noise, you throw a wrench in there. Oh, what about the such and such? And then that gets echoed throughout all of right-wing media for the most part. And then the audience, sort of eats it up, and now they're walking around, arguing with people on the left and saying, but what about the such and such? What about such and such? So no one's serious, right? The left-wing politicians weren't serious about their plan, which is why it had this potential fatal flaw. And then the Republicans, they don't want to help the people either, right? So all they focus on is you spelled this word incorrectly. if you can't even spell words, why should we listen to anything you have to say? Right? So what's the end result? Nothing gets done. Right? Democrats have a half-assed plan with some flaws. GOP just comes in and all they talk about is the flaws. They don't talk about anything about maybe some parts of it are good. Maybe it could be made better, right? You have a good idea here, but let's work on it. Let's lead by example. Democrats trying to say they want to help people, but they have this really stupid plan, not really well thought through, right? So we're going to lead by example. Oh, no, Democrats. That's not the way to do it. The way you do it is X, Y, and Z, right? Great idea, bad execution. No, that's not what they do. Again, the point is find the flaw. So, for example, back to this thing about salary. Yes, having minimum wage be the same across the country probably doesn't make sense, but that's a trivial detail, right? That gets you distracted from the core thing about people, earning livable wages, right? If there's issues with the plans that are suggested, let's address and solve the issues rather than just focus on the negatives and like, oh, this is because of whatever. No, okay, fine. Okay, I can see what you're getting at. Minimum wage is a problem. A lot of people are not making enough money to make ends meet. They're not able to achieve the American dream because of that. So maybe we should look at the increasing incomes, but maybe we don't do it the same as all states. How about we come up with a formula, mathematical formula, that's calculated based on the cost of living wherever you are. So then it doesn't matter where you are because this formula is going to adjust for your local economy, right? But there's no conversation like that. You have the left to just come up with ideas. The GOP folks come in and they just say, oh, this, but what about $7 is great? Not that they're lying, right? But they are definitely trying to derail the conversation. They're trying to distract. Standard tactics, man. Standard tactics. It's not trivial details, and if you would have finished reading my comment, I touched on the living wage issue. Did you? Plans can be suggested to Fed to state, but the point of the state is state rights. And by the way, and this is another trick that they get people with. Sometimes you hear people using straw man arguments. Just like how the only people talking about gay stuff or trans stuff are like conservatives, the only people that I've heard talking about having minimum wage be the same across the country have been, again, conservatives. Maybe I've missed it, but I've never heard of that plan being proposed that we should have the same salary in all states. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never heard anyone suggesting that plan. The people who are trying to say we should increase minimum wage, I've never heard them say, let's make the wage the same across all states. Now, I wouldn't be surprised that they would propose something like that because, again, they're not really serious about it, so they wouldn't necessarily think through things. So I could see that. But again, the main people saying this have been conservatives. That's again, the point is not to fix the thing, it's to let's find something and oh, but what about this thing? What about that thing? So again, let me know if somebody did suggest that, but I haven't heard anyone say that. I haven't heard AOC say that or any of the folks. A Fed minimum wage would be I'm not sure. Plans can be suggested. I think I'm caught up. You have to finish my. Ouch. You are condemned. I condemn you, Lisa. Never. All right, have a good night. This is the Baby Channel. The baby in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell, be well. As you can see, the roof has been installed. The roof is on fire. So I'm supposed to be doing my my trim. Let me see if I could put this on. Looks horrible with no lights. Let me turn the lights on. Uh, 1 second. There we go. I'm supposed to be doing this. Putting this there, baseboard there. I don't think I'm gonna mess with the crown jewel up there. Try not to kill myself. Oh! Ah! Oh! Anyway, on that note, I'm out. Ciao.